Hello game devs. In this tutorial we are going to create a circle spanner. As you see, we are spawning some objects in a circle. We aren't going to use a rotating object that is rotates and spawn some object in its rotation. We are going to use mathematics as our spawner. So watch this video until the end, and after that you will learn how to do it. But at first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let's go. At first, we have to know the circle equation. At first, we need the circle equation because, as I said, we are going to create a circle spanner with mathematics. So this is the circle equation: plus y minus 2b to the power of 2, and this is equal to the radius to power of 2. And what we have here we have a coordinate plane. And this A and B are the center of our circle. For example, here it is A and here it's B. We have a circle with this radius AB. This is the center of our circle, and we have a circle with the radius of R. We are going to use this equation here to create our spawner. At first, we need an empty game object to create our spawner in that game object. Here, spawner. Then we need to create a script for that. So now we are going to create our spawner. Let's write our circle equation. Here we have our circle equation. In our spawner, we have to define some parameters. One of them is our radius, public float radius. For spawning stuff, so I want to use object pooling system. Here I created this code before, and if you want to learn more about this object pooling system, you can click on this and then you can watch this object pooling video and then come back and continue. We are going to use our object pooling system, so we need a reference to that. So public, and after that we are going to create our spawner. So we need a spawn rate, public float spawn rate, or spawn time. I think spawn rate is better, so spawn rate. And because we are using a rate, so we need a timer, public float timer. It's better if we write this private because it has to be private. Here, and we are going to choose a random x, and with this random x we know the y-axis of our object. What I mean, let's jump back to our equation. This is our equation. If we know the x, we know this part. So y minus b to the power of 2 is equal to r in the power of 2 minus x minus a to power of 2, and then y minus b is equal to the root of r to the power of 2 minus x plus x minus a to the power of 2, and then plus b. So, and then all of these can be positive or negative. Okay. So when we choose our x randomly, then we have a y, and with these x and y's we would have a circle. So our y is equal to sqrt. At first we have to create a timer. So timer plus equal to time dot delta time, and then if our time is greater than our spawn rate, then we have to create our x and y. So float spawn x is equal to random range from minus radius to the radius. We can simplify our equation here. We can set the a and b to 0, and then we have something like this. This is what we have. It's really easier to use. So now we are just going to use our spawn x and spawn y. So float spawn y, it isn't a random between radius. It is math dot sqrt radius multiplied to radius minus spanx multiplied to spanx, and this is our y. Then we can add our current position of our spanner to the x and y, and if we do that, our center always is our spanner position. So spanx plus equal to our transform dot position dot x, and same here with our y, something like this. And now we have our spanx and span y, and now the center of our circle always is the position of our spanner. But we have one more things to do, because as I said here, it is positive or negative, and then I want to choose it randomly. I want to multiply this to -1 to the power of, so we are going to use math dot pow to the power of random dot range from 0 to 2, and this random function will give us a number, it is 1 or 0. And now we have the negative y and positive y, and we can use both of them. We are going to spawn our object in these positions. I want to use my object pooling and dot get object, and here as you see in the get object we need a position and a quaternion of rotation, and then it will give us the first inactive object. So object pooling dot get object, and then we have to pass a position, so new vector 3 as our position. This spawn y is our z, so here this is our z axis, and our y axis is our transform dot position dot y axis, and then transform dot rotation as our quaternion. This will spawn our objects, and after that our timer have to set to 0. This is our spawner. Here we have to set a radius, for example 5. Our object pooling, we have to create that. Can create that object pooling here in this spawner object pooling. Our pool size is something like 100. For example, let's create a capsule object that we are going to spawn that here. So we have to spawn this one. Our spawn rate is, for example, 1 second, and this is our radius. Don't forget to set this to false. Then this is our spawner, and let's see here, this is our spawner. We are spawning our object in a circle. This is the center of our circle, but we have a problem here. As you see, this isn't the center of our circle, so let's fix that. Here this is our problem, because this one have to be the z-axis. Let's make it a little faster, for example something like this, and let's make our radius bigger. And now, and as you see, you're spawning in a circle. But sometimes we need to spawn our objects in the circle, not just on the border of our circle. Maybe we want to create some of our objects, for example here. So one thing we can do is something like this. So here this is the y of our position, so we can do something like this. We can set our spawn y to something like this: random dot range between the negative spawn y to spawn y, and after that we do this stuff. And now we don't need this part anymore, this part, we don't need this anymore. We are spawning our object in the circle, and as you see, we are spawning them. Some of them are in the circle, but all of them is in a circle. As you see here, this is our circle, and we are spawning them randomly in a circle. It's enough for this tutorial. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you like this video you can like it and subscribe to my channel, and goodbye.